my Where's Waldo too.
It's hot in here.
It's hot?
You feel hot?
No.
It's hotter than a Satan Mountains album cover down here.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Super Social Club. I'm Jeremy.
This is Whisky in the Six. I'm Rob.
Welcome to the Whisky Rant Podcast.
It's a little crusty,
It's frustrating.
and it's going to be a little bit of a rant.
I don't understand it. I don't know why.
Some sort of injustice.
Anyway, end rant.
Hello and welcome back to the Whisky Rant Podcast. I'm Jeremy.
Rob.
And tonight we are counting down our top 10 distilleries of the year. It's that time of year again.
The countdown year.
The countdown year, the top lists.
The countdown time of year, I should say.
Everyone's favorite, yeah.
Yeah. List videos aplenty on YouTube at this time.
Yeah, we thought we would choose distilleries that kind of spoke to us this year. Criteria, consistency, quality, availability, price, all things that we take into account.
When you think of all those things,
yeah,
what's the first distillery that comes to mind?
Well, it's not our omission from the list, if that's what you're getting at.
It's not?
No.
Well, yeah, because
Availability
is a big one.
kind of X's it out. But we're not going to put Springbank on this list.
That's right.
Disclaimer, of course we love Springbank. Everyone loves Springbank.
Easily could have been our whiskey, or everything of the year.
Right. Like, are they making the best whiskey in Scotland? Yeah, I mean, most people would say yes.
Yeah.
But the availability is tough, so it's not going to make a list. But we got 10 other ones that are really, really good.
Yeah. Lots of options.
Mm-hmm.
We have some experience in this field. We've had a lot of great whiskey this year. We've been spoiled with our drink choices, as we have been since we started.
We spoil ourselves.
We spoil ourselves. We do. We put in the money. My bank account sure knows that.
Yeah, there's been a couple whiskey tubers who have like added up how much they spend on whiskey each year.
Oh, really?
It's a mistake. Never do that.
Oh, I'm afraid to do that.
Never ever
I'm
do that.
terrified.
It's a crazy thing. You're like, wow, I spent so much on that.
I mean, just looking at my bar, I kind of have a rough idea of what I spend a year. Because like we get free stuff once in a while, but everybody thinks that our bar is being supplied by these distilleries,
Not even close.
Like maybe what would you say, 5%, 7% of our free
I got
bottles?
one free bottle this year.
One free bottle. Okay, so I don't know. I got a bunch, but I mean it's still. I would say if I had to give it like a generous percentage of my consumption as far as like what I'm purchasing versus what I'm getting for free, it's less than 20%.
Yeah,
it's far less than 20%.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So.
All of these bottles we purchase ourselves.
Especially the ones that you really want, right? Like, and the ones that are going to be on this list for the most part are those kind of bottles.
Yeah.
It's very rare that, Springbank's knocking on our door. Very rare. Actually, it's never happened. Springbank's never knocked on our door and said, "Hey, here's a bottle. Can you review it for us?"
But like reps aren't going to give us the stuff that we buy. They're going to give us this like new distillery or this new release of something oddballish that they need to make a name for it.
Exactly.
They're not going to give us, a Laphroaig.
No, because they know it's going to sell anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
No, exactly. And like Springbank's not going to do that because they don't have enough to go around as it is. Mm-hmm. And they also know it's just going to sell anyway. So. All
right. Without further ado, our number 10. What do we got? Number 10.
We got Laphroaig.
Yes.
And you kind of gave it away there with I'm going to buy the Laphroaig. But we got Laphroaig. This is the cartridge. I know that. I don't know if you're planning on putting pictures up or what, but Laphroaig has awesome options. You're drinking the cartridge right now.
This is the new cartridge, the white port in Madeira.
And what do you think?
It's fantastic.
It's probably one of their best ones so far.
It's really, really nice. Like the peat plus like the sweetness on this is very well balanced. It goes very, very well together.
I got this whiskey this weekend by absolute fluke at the LCBO. Mm-hmm. It's still available in other places, but that's probably because of the price hike. Because people are used to paying just north of $100 for this. Now it's around $150 to $170.
Yeah.
Right? So it's gone up. This was $148 at the LCBO.
$148, not bad.
Not horrible.
Yeah.
I bought one right away. I was very, very lucky because I think so far they've only released 14 bottles at the LCBO or something like that. It's like absurd.
Classic LCBO rollout.
Yeah.
Like, oops, accidentally released 2 cases.
Right.
Weren't supposed to do that. Oh well.
So anyway, they put out 14 bottles. I got one.
But Laphroaig for us has been consistent.
Always.
Right? It's been very, very consistent over the years.
Love the 10 sherry that they have. 48%. Like just a banger at that price. Like now it's in and around like I want to say 120.
Quarter cask has been a favorite of mine for
Quarter
a very long
cask is
time.
great.
Yeah.
Quarter cask is great. There's some that I avoid. I don't buy the regular 10-year-old. I don't buy the select.
The cask strength though is a banger.
The 10 cask strength is
10
unreal.
cask strength.
And every year.
It's one of the best peated whiskeys for the age.
Yeah, and it drinks way older than 10 years old.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, really, really good. I think Laphroaig had to be on this list. We're doing top 10 anyway.
Yeah.
Had to be on this
Yeah.
list.
Classic Laphroaig, man. It's been bread and butter for us for a very long time.
Yeah. Number 9. You want to introduce this bad boy?
Yeah, which one is it?
It's the...
Oh yeah, the Chegg.
Yeah. So we got the Jag 18 here.
The Chegg 18, fantastic pour.
Great pour.
Many people's whiskey of the year at some point in the last couple.
Yeah.
It's there. This is another consistent distillery that keeps putting out quality year after year releases in their core range. The 10 has always been a staple.
10 is a
banger. When it first came out, it was like the most under the radar peated Scotch.
Yeah.
Right. Like not too many people knew about it. And since then, it's been on everyone's like go-to lists. They have some really nice, interesting wine cask finishes as well. There was like a 19 or a 17-year-old Madeira, I think, that came out at one point. It was fantastic.
Yeah, there was a 19-year-old PX at one point.
Maybe that's the one I'm thinking of.
That one I really wanted to get and never did.
Really good stuff. Yeah.
A newer 9-year-old that everybody's talking about. I think it's Rioja casks or something like that.
Yeah.
That one's supposed to be really good, but
again, another year after year consistent distillery that's putting out great core range stuff, and it hasn't faltered.
No. Next one is, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched my whiskey of the year, it was my whiskey of the year, the Knock 24-year-old. Despite being my whiskey of the year, it's number 8 on the distillery list. Not for lack of trying, I should say. Mm-hmm. You know, they're coming in consistently. The 12, the 18, the 24, they're all well priced. They're all excellent whiskeys. The 12 could be a little higher in ABV, but I guess it's an entry level whiskey, so they want to keep it as an entry level at 40%.
Yeah.
Just consistency.
I think that the 18 and the 24 are super luxury Scotch whiskeys for a very, very good price.
It is arguably those two are the best valued whiskeys in all of Scotch.
Yeah. When you get into the upper tier of quality, a Knock, like, man, the price point of their Scotch is like, it's so good. Like, yeah, it's not cheap, but you're getting 18 and 24-year-old Scotch that is performing better than many, many distilleries at that age statement.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with those.
No.
For sure.
So we were teetering on this next one, so I'll let you introduce it. So it's number 7.
Yeah, we're going to Canada here. 2 brewers. I think if you talk to a lot of people who are drinking a lot of Canadian whiskey right now, this distillery comes up on a lot of lists. And it comes up as being talked about as like their favorite.
Yep.
Toronto Whiskey Society did some Canadian whiskey tasting. They always taste like 40 Canadian whiskeys a year.
That's crazy.
Distilleries you've never ever heard of before. 2 Brewers was their winner. I think it was batch 38 perhaps, 37 or 38 or 36. Anyway, they're putting out phenomenal single malt. Single malt that doesn't read Canadian whiskey.
No.
It reads more like Scotch, and it's just, at the age that these things are, you would never guess it. And they're getting into this zone right now where it's becoming like every release is fantastic.
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, I have yet to have a bad 2 Brewers. There's not been one that I've been like, I'm not a big fan. They're all great.
Yeah.
Their distillate, I don't know if it's because they use brewer's yeast or brewers like roasted malts, or what do you want over there?
Some 2 Brewers.
two brewers, or what. I have no idea why, but I do have a funny feeling it has to do with the fact that they use a lot of like chocolate malts and brewers malts and like that kind of stuff, so that it's very roasted kind of stuff, and it's impacting the whiskey in such a good way that makes them so unique.
Yeah.
Versus what's out there, and it's too bad that they're kind of a small batch distillery.
Yeah.
Not kind of, they are
Yeah.
a small batch distillery, and I know that I think they put away 1 or 2 barrels a month that they don't plan on opening for a very, very long time. So they do have stock that's going to be older, and there's going to be a whole bunch of it and whatever else. But like, man, that distillate is just unreal.
And they let you be able to taste the distillate in these releases, which I think is sometimes gets lost on other distilleries.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of like over mature something in a cask. But Two Brewers, it lets you know, and you're right, their distillate is very, very good. Just like exploding fruit notes on this thing, it's like it's out of control. It's so nice.
They arguably have the best fruit notes in all of whiskey right now. Like it's hard to argue that. Like obviously they're not doing peated whiskey. They're not doing like super old whiskeys that you can compare. You know, but I can't wait. What's that gonna taste like when it's 25 years
This
old?
thing is a papaya and mango bomb.
Yeah.
It's stuff that you don't think about when you think Canada and the whiskey that we make here.
No, because although Canadian whiskey has a huge history and culture, Canadian single malt doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
And really, it wasn't until Glenora started really doing the single malt. They're the first single malt distillery of Canada.
Right.
Then you had a whole bunch start popping up.
Yeah.
Shelter Point, Two Brewers, Macaloney's. There's a few others, you know.
Yeah.
These guys are.
Yeah.
I can't wait till their production ramps up and they can just consistently pump out a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And then that's their classic. The 10-year-old is their classic, and then the innovation ones could be whatever they want them to be, because that's what the whole line is about. If anybody doesn't know, Two Brewers has 4 different lines: innovation, classic, peated, and special finishes. I will say, if you had to pick one of the 4 that kind of lack for you, which one would it be?
Maybe the peated, I guess.
Yeah, that's the only one for me, and that's only because they're kind of stuck importing their peated barley from Scotland,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which is most distilleries in North America are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one distillery that peaks their own barley that is doing it consistently. I shouldn't say one distillery, because I know Shelter Point does it, but not consistently. And this one distillery is edging out Two Brewers because of that.
I love how you made the segue for our next distillery of the year.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is the number 6. Am I counting? No, this is number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Macaloney's, and
Yeah.
this is their award-winning whiskey, which we will give you a link to, as well as a discount code.
Oh, there you go. If you want to order from their website.
Yeah. So if you want to order from Macaloney's website, I have a discount code for you guys below, as well as the link to the website.
Shipping restrictions?
Anywhere in Canada.
Anywhere in Canada. Okay.
Anywhere in Canada. I don't know if they'll do the US. They have to. If you're from the US, contact them. They might be able to swing something for you.
Yeah, usually shipping from Canada to the US is a lot easier than the other way around.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think the innovation from this distillery really kind of blew us away.
Mm-hmm.
We had that great interview with Graham.
Yeah, that was cool.
And yeah, I mean, like, the age of this whiskey and what it delivers is absolutely insanely mind-blowing.
Yeah, so that's about where this distillery kind of edged out. Is they're peating their own whiskeys with Washington peat and BC peat,
Yeah.
and they're importing other types of peat.
They're sourcing local peat, which in
which is
Canada,
awesome.
we have so many peat bogs in Canada.
Yeah.
Like,
Well-
I think maybe like for landmass wise, maybe more than Scotland. Now Scotland's obviously it's different.
Right, it's a different
style. But he's finding stuff just south in Washington State that is working phenomenally well.
It's incredible. The Washington peat stuff is
Yeah.
bonkers good, and that really blew us away because their distillate just tastes older for whatever reason. They're not putting age statements on the bottle, nor does Two Brewers for the most part. But they're not, because they are relatively young. They're between 3 to 6 years old.
Yeah.
Right? But
Sometimes
everything.
sometimes younger.
Sometimes younger. If they don't put whiskey on the bottle, that means
sometimes
that
they can't
it's
even
just
call it whiskey.
Yeah. I think we've tried one that was a single malt spirit,
Right.
which was unbelievable.
Yeah.
And we were blown away by the fact that it was like 1 or 2 years old, and it was fantastic.
That's what we have. I remember when we were interviewing him, I'm like, you must be blown away when you're sampling a cask after like 14 months, and it's just like unbelievably good.
Yeah. So we do. I've lined them up for, well, both of these guys. We should be doing an interview of their master distiller.
Love that.
Coming up.
Yeah.
But Macaloney's, my main question to him is about the cuts, because you could tell that they're all in the hearts.
Yeah.
They're entirely in the hearts, and they're doing such an incredible job with their cuts, because they're new make. Like, okay, I'm assuming we didn't maybe try their new make, but we tried something relatively close to their new make,
Right.
and it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it makes me really excited to see what's happening in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Very proud, and looking forward to new things from Canadian single malt distilleries.
100% agree. It's so refreshing to have distilleries doing single malt in Canada and doing it extremely well.
Yeah.
And being able to compete on a global stage with their single malt is just great, because for so long, Canada whiskey has been a mixer.
Mm-hmm.
A decent mixer. A lot of people love it.
Yeah.
A lot of people love it, but we don't mix our whiskey.
No.
We want something that we can sit nicely.
Aside from some of the ryes that Canada has put out, there hasn't been a single malt that, I mean, we've only ever tried Glen, and unfortunately we haven't tried one that's cracked the list yet.
Right.
Maybe one day.
Back to Scotland.
Back to Scotland. It's in my glass right now, and I've been impressed with this distillery lately.
Yes, me too.
When I first tried these guys, I wasn't thoroughly impressed. It's the Glen, Scotia.
Yeah, represented here by the 18-year-old. This is a 2022 bottling.
This is the 2023, I believe.
Okay.
This is the newest. Yeah, 2023. It's June 2023.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to have some Campbelltown stuff represented here. Glen Scotia. Obviously, the Victoriana was like a big whiskey nerd favorite.
Yeah,
right.
Which was never ours.
No,
We were never big Victoriana guys.
we loved Victoriana, but it wasn't making our list. It definitely
No.
wasn't making our whiskey of the year.
Right.
The 18 shines. It is fantastic.
The last 18 was excellent. We were both thoroughly impressed with that. We had the luxury of trying those special releases. One was
Yes.
a Bordeaux cask,
The
unpeated.
Vigil Whiskey Festival releases.
Right. One was a
8-year-old.
PX finish. Yeah. 8-year-old and 11-year-old.
Something like that.
Yeah. The the red Bordeaux was 11-year-old unpeated.
Right.
And then the PX was a peated one.
Yeah.
Both excellent.
Yeah.
Both really, really good. This
Yeah.
is excellent.
Glen Scotia, another one that's putting out consistent core range stuff, and their special releases are very, very interesting. Must buys.
Absolutely.
And, yeah, I mean, the Campbelltown profile, man.
There's something unique about
Right.
it for sure. You haven't had a chance to try this one yet.
Not
You
the
should.
newest, no.
You should. I'm gonna grab you a glass.
I'd love to. Yeah, I think for me, like, obviously Victoriana was a kind of like I don't know, call it like a revolutionary bottling, but very interesting in the cask maturation and like how they kind of did it.
You know what? What was cool about the Victoriana and what kind of got me excited about it was that it bridged the gap between a lot of bourbon drinkers and Scotch drinkers.
Right.
Like for whatever reason, a lot of bourbon drinkers jumped aboard the Victoriana hype.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool because they were seeing a lot of the things that we saw in many Scotches, and it kind of brought them to the table, which, you know, any whiskey that can do that is welcome in our books.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is nice. Really, really nice.
Yeah, that one's pretty tasty. It's
man.
it's a combination of barrels. It's refilled bourbon barrels, refill American oak hogsheads, and then it's finished for 12 months in first fill Oloroso.
Yeah, I would say the Oloroso influence is very, very mild, but you get a lot of ex-bourbon.
Yeah, super fruity. Definitely get a little bit of that Campbelltown funk, but not like overly peated by any means. Just well-rounded, very, very like well-balanced.
I agree. Yeah, it's crushable, man.
Yeah,
It is crushable. Good on Whiskey Whistle for naming the 2022 his Whiskey of the Year. Let's go 18. It was either 2021 or 2022.
He really liked the 2022. I don't know if he's had this one yet.
But he named it the Whiskey of the Year, which I thought was a great pick. For the time, for sure.
Yeah, 2021 or 2022.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Next up.
You got this one?
Yeah, this is, we're going with Arran here for number...
4.
Number four. Arran. Arran to us is another like super consistent distillery who's putting out that 10-year-old every year, and it's like it is the best value Scotch whiskey, I think.
Yeah, it's got the 10-year-old might be. Yeah, I think it's definitely in the conversation.
It's like, man, we were buying that whiskey for $55 Canadian.
Crazy.
And the quality of that 10-year-old for $55 Canadian, you don't get that here.
No,
you don't get it.
The only thing that comes close in price is the Deanston Virgin Oak.
Yeah, and I would take the Arran 10 over Deanston.
100%.
Every single day.
100%. I mean, the Deanston Virgin Oak is a really cool whiskey, good bang for your buck, all those types of things. There's a reason why it's never made any of our lists. Yeah. Right? Like, it's not our favorite. That Arran 10 was fantastic. The Arran 18 blows my mind.
The Arran 18 is, again, it's like, it's in the line of like what a Knock kind of does, where they put out an 18-year-old whiskey that's very elegant, delicious, and at a great price. Mm-hmm. Right now, you're drinking this special single cask.
This is a 9-year-old single cask from Kensington Wine Market. 58.2% does not drink like that at all.
Ralphie would say this thing's a belter.
It's a belter.
It is a belter.
It is a belter. Yeah. Sherry butt. Wow. Yeah. This is like, we did a bottle split on this. Mm-hmm. And I'm glad I got a backup. Yeah. Because half a bottle, I don't think is gonna make it very well.
Even like Arran's, like, you know, they had that cast strength sherry NAS, which is great.
Really, really good actually. The Bodega is awesome.
The Bodega, that's the one. Yeah.
The other one I haven't tried yet, but I know that that's consistently 9 years old, and that's a cast strength that's very reasonable in price as well, around like $70-$80.
Yeah.
Quarter or something.
There is a quarter cask, is there not?
Is it called the quarter cask?
They have a bunch of releases.
They have all those wine cask releases, which I haven't tried in a very, very long time. I know I originally, when they were still the old bottling, which I love this bottle, by the way. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
The old bottling, I tried the Amarone, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. It's changed. Yeah. I don't know if the taste and quality has changed, but I wouldn't be surprised because I wasn't a big fan of Arran until they revamped.
Yeah, there you go.
So they've come a long way, in my opinion.
Man, yeah, absolutely fantastic. Love to see it. And I mean, of course, it's got to make the list.
Yeah.
Next up,
we go back
to Campbelltown.
So this is kind of a cheat, but not really. I mean, it could have.
Listen,
why it's not a cheat is because it's available on almost every shelf.
You can still find Kilkerran, and that's our number 3 distillery of the year. The 12-year-old has been such a consistent staple. Mm-hmm. It's been available. It's been well priced. It's just fantastic whiskey. It's absolutely delicious stuff.
Yeah, this one has a darker color to it. I have another 12-year-old over there. This is actually not my bottle of the 12-year-old. This is our boy P-Boss's bottle.
Right.
And this bottle has like a touch more sherry in it, it looks like.
And this is a bottling from
2022, I believe.
Correct. This is a August 19th, 2022 bottling of the Kilkerran 12. Went to the stubby bottles. What do you think about that? I kind of like the long ones. I like how they have the longer ones for certain releases and the stubby ones for like their single cast.
So I think they've switched to the longer ones only for their like distillery exclusives and stuff like that now, because the 12 used to be the longer one, and the 8 used to be the longer one.
Yeah.
Now the 8 and the 12 are both the short stubby. I actually prefer, because this is the exact same bottle that Springbank uses.
Yeah.
I prefer this bottle.
Yeah.
I like these kind of bottles. Like I do really enjoy this Glen Scotia bottle.
Yeah. See, I would take the longer Kilkerrans.
That's cool.
Because like, yeah, it's a Springbank bottle, and like you should you should make yourself different.
It's true. I mean, I think the goal was to just show that they are united, and they are one distillery. Well, 2 distilleries, 1 company.
Yeah.
Do
you have a favorite Kilkerran?
It's got to be the 8 sherry. When they do a good job of the 8 sherry. I mean, like Ever is the one that single cask sherry 15-year-old that you had a long time ago.
Yes.
That was unbelievable.
When they did like regional releases of single casks, and the American one was it an Oloroso?
Oloroso.
Yeah, at 15 years.
We didn't get the luxury of trying the PX one.
That thing was delicious.
That thing was crazy.
Yeah.
That thing was crazy good.
I wish I would have tried more of them. I maybe should have just ponied up on the secondary and bought a couple, because I heard the port was really, really good.
Yeah, I can see that.
I forget what they had, a Fino maybe as
They
well.
did have a Fino. They had a PX.
Yeah.
And they had the Oloroso.
Yeah.
That Oloroso was like that year. What?
Oh, Canada got the ex bourbon.
We got the ex bourbon. Of course, we got the ex bourbon.
Man, like it was okay. It was good.
It was
but,
good
like,
enough.
it wasn't gonna compete with those other ones.
No.
Yeah.
It was good. It was fine. I don't know. There hasn't been other than that bottle, there hasn't been a Kilkerran that's absolutely blew my mind.
Yeah.
The 8-year-olds are always pretty good.
Yeah.
There's been one bad 8-year-old in my opinion.
Is that batch 2?
That was the second batch of the 8-year-old.
Yeah. Second
Which
batch was Sulphur City.
Sulphur City, yeah.
The
first one was really, really good.
But they've done good jobs of it. I mean, that's a.
So we shouldn't say batch 2. Batch 2 of the sherry 8-year-old.
Oh yes.
Because before that, they were consistently banging out that bourbon 8-year-old.
That's right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It was probably like right. It was probably batch 3 or 4, whatever it was.
Yeah.
The second release of the heavily sherry.
The heavily sherry, yeah.
And that thing was crazy. Like they probably just charred up those casks and were just like.
Yeah, they
go to town.
The recharred, it literally said recharred on the cask or on the bottle, and people were drinking a heavily charred.
The influence of that cask was probably as much as you're gonna get.
Yeah.
At that age statement ever. Yeah.
That was like alligator char number 5.
Right, like
guaranteed.
At 8 years, you're probably not getting more cask influence than something like that.
No, like beside that, like Macaloney is behind you. That's probably only like 5 years old. Then it's just as dark.
Yeah, black.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next one. And I mean, when we get to this part in the show, I'm sure people are predicting what is going to be on our list. Mm-hmm. You know, there are some great distilleries that we've left off this list. We didn't include everything we love. There's only 10.
Yeah.
You know, there's distilleries from other countries that we really enjoy, but this year in particular, there was nothing that blew us away from them. That's why we kept them off the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a little bit of a disclaimer right there, I guess.
Right.
The next one I'll let you introduce.
Yeah, so this next distillery is Benromach. And I think what you're seeing from Benromach now is just like a really great escalation of their range.
Yeah, they're consistently getting better and better.
Yeah.
That's
like their core range is just peaking right now.
Yeah.
Like we both love the 15 so much. The 10-year-old, the vintage cast strength is so good.
Yeah.
And then this constraint series that they started doing last year. Contrast series. The contrast series they started doing like last year or the year before.
All unbelievable.
So good.
That peated sherry.
Peated sherry you loved. I love the Cara Gold a lot.
The Cara Gold was awesome.
Yeah, really good.
There's a bourbon peated that's really good as well. Mm-hmm. There's the 2 kiln and air dried that we haven't had a chance to try yet, but I really want to try those. This one here is a Polish
cask. This is the single cask edition.
Yeah, Polish oak.
Really
People
nice.
raved about this. This is very good. Honestly, don't let the levels of the cask strength bottles fool you. Like, they're not high because I don't love them. I just don't. Lately, I've tried to like limit my cask strength pours to like a quarter pour.
I saw you on Instagram be like, oh, I got this new bottle, but it's a dry day, so I'm not drinking it. I'm like, what's wrong with you? Switch your dry day to the next. Just like, make an exception. Make an exception for this.
You're right.
Like, I'll go dry tomorrow, but today I'm drinking this bottle that just came in the mail.
Well, today is tomorrow.
I see.
That's why I knew I was going to be drinking with you. So, yeah, the Benromach distillery, honestly, you know what? A crazy little side story about Benromach right now is the 10-year-old is one of the best priced whiskeys at the LCBO for your value. You're getting, aside from the fact that it's 43%, it's still unchill filtered. It's no added color. It's like $70.
Yeah.
$70 for a solid 10-year-old, age-stated, great whiskey in 2023. Mm-hmm. Now, let me tell you something else that they did that blew my mind. I went back because I remember buying the 15-year-old when I first started the channel, and $150 when I first started the channel was a lot of money. And the 15-year-old at the LCBO 7 years ago was $150. You know what the 15-year-old costs now in 2023?
$119.95.
Doesn't that blow your mind that it's $30 cheaper and it's better than it used to be?
Yeah.
How did they do that?
Yeah, I mean, Benromach, you're going to see this on my Whiskey of the Year video. Of course, Benromach's making some appearances. I just think that they don't cheap out on casks.
Definitely.
They don't cheap out on casks, right? Like, they're using a lot of first fill ex-bourbon and first fill sherry in so much of their stuff. And I think it really shows. And these whiskeys are very well available and for very decent prices. And you don't see that too much in the Scotch whiskey world.
Yeah.
Not as much as you should.
No.
And yeah, we've been a big fan of Benromach in this last year for sure.
Now, okay, people are going to say, well, Benromach has Gordon MacPhail, which is a different revenue stream for them. They can afford to, but whatever. Say what you want. Gordon MacPhail is some of the best priced whiskey in the entire world.
Gordon MacPhail, yeah.
Yeah, what did I say before that?
No, you're right.
Yeah.
Yep, I just want to make sure you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, Gordon MacPhail is some of the best priced whiskey in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
Bar none.
Yeah.
They're pricing all their distillery releases less than the actual distilleries that release those whiskeys.
By a significant amount.
Significant margin.
Yeah.
Then they have Benromach, which, say what you want about their core range at 43%, but they're doing everything else right. And everything else other than their core range is coming in at 46%. And usually a minimum age statement of like 9 years old, which I haven't seen anything less than 9 years old. But it's like just 9, like barely 9 years old. It's like 9 3/4 or whatever.
Right.
And there's more to come from these guys. Like, they're just getting better and better.
Answer this question for me. Are you a whiskey snob if you scoff at good whiskey that's not at least 46 or higher?
I think so. Like,
because I called people who scoff at Benromach at 43 whiskey snobs.
Yeah, no, I think you are. I mean, in the past, I've loved whiskeys that are 43%. It's hard for me to find something that I really love at that.
It is rare.
Right.
It is rare.
That's what and that's where I'll go with that, because I recently reviewed two brewers that were 43%, and I love both of them. Mm-hmm. Like I just mentioned the 10-year-old Benromach, which is 43%, really, really good. In the past, I used to absolutely adore the Highland Park 12-year-old for like $70 at 43%.
Yeah.
See,
like we will tell you that whiskey should be 46 or higher. Yeah. Lots of people tell you that. Ralphie would 100% tell you that.
Yeah.
But there are outliers. I can think of Highland Park 10-year-old at 40% ABV. It's delicious.
It's good whiskey.
Search for Whiskey Fund gave it a 90 out of 100.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at the whiskeys that don't get a 90. They're like, 35-year-old whiskeys don't get 90s on that. Like, at cask strength.
No.
So, like, you can't just scoff at a 43% whiskey. You need to try it. The Benromach does it well at 43. They are an outlier. We've we've dropped names of distilleries who are brutal with low ABVs.
Yeah.
Right? Even like Balvenie 12 Double Wood, which I thought used to be great.
Yeah.
It is so thin now at 43.
Yeah.
It's undrinkable.
Yeah. I would add a few more to that category. Like, I don't, unless I'm at a wedding or something like that, I don't even pour, like, I will never pour Glenlivet. I'll never buy Glenlivet.
No, I hate Glenlivet.
Yeah, like, there's certain things that I'll, like, we've talked about Johnny Walker 15, and we both really enjoyed the 15 at 43%.
There's a 43.
Right? I mean, we're not...
The Johnny Walker Double Black at 40% is a good pour.
It's a great pour.
And it's a good price.
And believe it or not, when I'm at a wedding, I choose that over a lot of the stuff that's on the bar.
I would totally take that.
Yeah, I mean, that's known as, like, bar rail stuff at like a lot of Italian weddings.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going for.
Absolutely.
Right? So
yeah, don't get this like effect where it's like you only, if it's not 46, then you're not even considering it. Like,
right.
There are outliers that do perform very, very well at 3% less ABV, and Benromach is one of them. Next on the list, number 1. Let's go.
Number 1. I want to add one more thing to that.
Go ahead.
The only way I would say you should not be doing 43% is if you're a new distillery and you're trying to make a name for yourself.
Right.
Because you're not gonna pull in a whiskey geek crowd to your brand new 43% release.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you should establish your name or have an established name before you're courageous enough to bottle at that.
Or you better have the best casks in the game.
Right. Or that. All right. Number 1.
So number 1 is going to be Glenallachie for us. And there's many, many reasons why Glenallachie is hitting our top spot. The selection, the availability, and their portfolio of whiskey is so vast now.
It is.
Sometimes to their dismay, but
yeah,
you get these amazing outliers in this distillery, and Billy Walker has done a phenomenal job with them.
Their core range, you could put up against pretty much anyone's core range, and it might win. It probably would. We
might buy more Glenallachie than any other distillery.
Yeah, we were just going through it. Consistently, we buy the 10-year-old. Every single release we bought.
The 10-year-old cask strength has been phenomenal. Batches 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, excellent. Batch 6, a little bit of letdown. Batch 7, a letdown. Right back at it. Batch 8, phenomenal. Batch 9, very, very good. Batch 10, haven't tried.
Haven't tried yet.
Out right now.
It's coming.
It's coming to us. But you're running at like an 85% success rate on that whiskey. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
Very, very affordable.
Yeah.
And just amazing.
I'll
the
tell
12-year-old, I've purchased over 10 bottles of the 12.
I've purchased a ton of bottles of the 12. And I've had it ever since it was like this color. Or lighter. Mm-hmm. Lighter than this color. And it never disappointed me.
It was good at that color too.
It never disappointed me.
Yeah.
The 15-year-old, always good as well.
Yeah.
And the 18-year-old happened to win a pretty big showdown on our channel.
That's what we were discussing for picking our number 1. Because when we did the blind 18-year-old challenge, it came out on top. And it surprised us how good it was.
If we put money down on bottles in that challenge, that is not... Neither of us would have put money on that bottle.
No. And there was a Springbank 18 in there, although that...
That specific
bottling was an outlier. That wasn't that great.
It wasn't that great,
but then again, it's still a Springbank, right?
Yeah, but I've had a couple Springbank 18s that have disappointed me.
Yeah.
Apparently the new one is really good. I haven't tried it.
And I had one, I think it was a 2017 phenomenal pour.
Yeah, and there was, I can't remember the one that Jasper poured us. Was that the one? There was like
he might have had a 19.
I think he had the 19, which was really good.
Every bottling in 2019 for Springbank was phenomenal. So if you're out there and you see a Springbank and you look in the back and it says 2019, auto buy if it's a decent price.
I wonder if like every year a different person is in charge for like the way the final blend appears. And imagine like some dude picked all those 19s and it's just like every time we say that, is just pointing in the rest of the staff's face and just laughing at them. Like, I wonder.
Yeah, they did great things that year.
That year was phenomenal. Last year, 2022 for Springbank, other than that 18, was phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean the 15 really came around.
That 15 was stupid.
15 really came around.
And they released like 4 different or 5 different releases of the Springbank 15 in 2022.
Yeah.
And I've had a few people check in saying, is it this one, is it that one, and whatever. The January and the June are outliers for sure. I have an April and a September that I haven't opened yet.
Okay, we said we wouldn't talk about Springbank on this list.
I know.
Back to Glenallachie. The other day, I was in the LCBO buying some champagne for New Year's Eve. And I went by the whiskey section. It was at Cooper Street, which is their flagship store, the second flagship store, the big one. And there was a couple people trying to like look at the Scotch selection. And I'm like, if you guys need a suggestion, I drink a lot of Scotch.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were looking at Macallan, right?
Of course.
They're looking at Macallan. They're like, oh my god, Macallan 18. It's like $800. So I'm like, there's a Glenallachie 15 for how much is it? $158, something like that, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, this is a great sherry matured whiskey, and any whiskey drinker, whether they're like advanced or just brand new, if you're giving it to them the first time, they're gonna like it.
Yeah.
And they were so like thankful for that kind of advice, because like they weren't gonna spend $800. Like they knew the name Macallan, right? They looked at it, they said, oh, that's Macallan.
Yeah.
Like they knew the name, but like, what are they gonna buy? Like the Macallan stupid gold double edition gold for $100 or whatever it is.
Do they even have anything under $100 anymore?
Macallan? I don't know.
I don't think they do.
I don't know what their cheapest thing is. It's
like 12.
It's the double gold, right? No, it's the.
Oh, is there a double gold?
The double gold, whatever that thing is.
Maybe. I don't know. It sucks. That's for sure. Like anything double cask from Macallan sucks.
Yeah.
They need to be single cask sherry, European oak, to be in the conversation. Mm-hmm. And their 12-year-old single cask. Have you caught a glimpse of what the new price on Macallan 12-year-old is?
Is it approaching $200?
It's $200 on the dot. It's $200 on the dot.
Doesn't surprise me.
The 15-year-old is $300. And their 18-year-old is $800.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking, $850.
$850.
We're talking LCBO prices here in Ontario and Canadian dollars.
But it's not far off in the rest of Canada.
If you do the conversion rate, even in the US, it's like it's $650, right? It's almost the same if you do the conversion.
If it's $650, it's worse in the US than it is here, right?
Well, there we go.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
That's absurd. I mean, I hope we're not headed in that direction. I know that they are the trailblazers for price, unfortunately, which is terrifying.
Like,
good thing that we both probably have enough whiskey to consume for the rest of our lives if worse comes to worse. But
like, if you want a really good sherry experience, Glenallachie is doing it really, really well. Right?
So what's cool about Glenallachie is the 12 is like crazy balanced, really, really good. No one ever says a bad thing about it that I've ever heard. The 15 is just sherry. Yeah. So it's just PX and Oloroso sherry. Like super dark, like probably talking like that color. Incredible. Then the 18 doesn't get released that often, but the 2 batches that I've had of the 18 have both been stellar.
I mean, it took down so many good 18-year-old scotches when we did it blind.
We weren't even sure that we
thought we messed up.
We thought we marked the glasses wrong.
We thought we marked the glasses wrong. We had
That's
like
how
triple
surprised we
confirmed
were.
that we were correct, and we were.
Yeah.
No, absolutely amazing. And even like their weird wood finishes, right? They have this whole line of like wood cast finishes. Some of them are so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are really, really good.
There's a single cask behind you, which again, the level of the bottle does not indicate how good this thing is, because it's delicious. And they were doing a whole bunch of these single casks globally for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know why they stopped. Maybe they ran out of I don't know what the reasoning is, but that one behind you right there is phenomenal. Glenallachie deserves to be number 1 on this list.
Yeah.
I mean, Billy Walker, he's the sole reason why Glendronach had a name.
Yep.
And when he left, they were shadows of themselves.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not a coincidence.
No.
And it's not because people are like, oh, Billy Walker left, we are not drinking this whiskey anymore. People still went after Benromach for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it just never lived up to what it used to be.
No.
Never.
But it couldn't. It couldn't because he
cheats.
He did cheat.
cheats.
He cheated. He put older whiskey
Yeah.
into the younger age statements.
Yeah.
And probably pulled the best of the best casks.
Yeah.
And that distillery could recover. I mean, it might take them a while, but they're not going to do what he did. They're not going to put 18-year-old Scotch in a 12-year-old age statement ever again.
Now, I wonder though. So I know he re-racked all of Glenallachie. So everything in Glenallachie, he recast. That's the like word on the street. He recast everything as soon as he got there.
Yeah.
He started his own distillate, which is the Macaloney. You heard about this? It's the peated.
Yeah.
The peated.
Our boy James is raving about it.
Everybody thinks it's phenomenal. Like,
and how Glenallachie will completely change in the future.
well, he's gone on record saying that Glenallachie will be known as a peated whiskey one day.
Yeah.
Like they're known for their peated whiskeys.
Yes.
Which is crazy because their non-peated whiskeys are phenomenal.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
I mean, our boy James, that 4-year-old.
How drunk are people right now? We've used a couple of his lines. If they're playing that drinking game, crushable, that's part of the drinking game.
Every time I throw up a Saints and Mountains picture.
Is that happening?
There's been multiple ones so far.
When?
I'm just
You know, it's funny. Like on the last post that Steve made, there's some shares on it. So I'm like, I wonder who's sharing this, just like laughing at us right now, just laughing at like our pictures or whatever else. Yeah. So takeaways from this list. What do you anticipate for next year? Do you anticipate it being something similar? What are your keep an eye outs for? Do you have any of those?
Yeah, good question. I mean, we kind of have our spending habits and we kind of gravitate towards the distilleries that we like. Mm-hmm. Of course, there's so many on the horizon,
right?
That are coming out. I mean, there's more new distilleries now than ever before.
Yeah.
You look at Scotland. Could Daphne make an appearance? Sure, but are we buying enough Daphne to know the new 15 is so expensive, right? It's $260 or something.
I think that's my biggest worry about some of the Canadian distilleries is if they reach a Daphne kind of hype. Yeah. Are they ever gonna be affordable for the average person? Daphne is not. Yeah. Daphne is not they're just getting older, and they're not getting more affordable. They're getting less and less affordable and super collectible.
That's the thing. Daphne was it's so good.
Yeah.
They haven't missed. Right?
Yeah, and I guess that could be detrimental because look at Springbank. Yeah. Right? We don't include Springbank on this list, not because they're not good enough, because they'd be first every year if we really, wanted to include them. But it's because they're too good that people are buying them out and you can't get them.
Yeah.
Right? The secondary market has come to a complete stop almost. Other than your Tater bourbons,
yeah,
and Springbank.
People have finally got fed up with the prices on the secondary.
Yeah. Yeah.
The whole Springbank market manipulation really kind of did slow down Springbank prices.
Yeah.
They've kind of peaked and they're not getting much higher.
Which is fine, but it hasn't slowed down the fact that they're highly sought after.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of where I was going with that. They're just a whole bunch of Springbank hit shelves in Alberta. I didn't get a sniff at any of it. 7 years ago, when I started buying from Alberta, I could buy cases of Springbank.
Oh yeah.
Cases.
Yeah.
Cases of the 12. Cases of the Long Grow. And to my like just hand them out to my brothers, hand them out to you guys, hand them like whoever.
Yeah.
Right? Like we would be able to just get whatever we want. That's drastically changed.
People in Ontario needed to make it popular so people in Alberta knew what they were missing. Or so it seems.
Yeah.
I hate to shit on Alberta because I know, like, you know, you guys out there were buying it. Of course you were. But now the average whiskey drinker in Alberta is like, oh my goodness, look what we have here.
Yeah, I think.
Look what we have here.
I think the only thing that's changed drastically is where the complacency used to be in Alberta. They don't sit on things anymore. They're like, no. I need to snatch this right now because if I don't, the Ontarians are going to come in and take what I want.
Yeah.
And before they could wait a little bit longer, whereas now they can't.
Yeah.
So they know they have to buy it or it's gone. Yeah. Shelter Point could have been on this list for me if I tried maybe the 10 and 12-year-old this year. Because they released a 10 and a 12-year-old this year. Yeah. And I heard really, really good things of both of them. I tried their rum cask Family Reserve, very good. I got to go back to it. I haven't decided where I'm at with that one yet. Yeah. But yeah, that's one I'm always kind of keeping an eye on because I always think that Shelter Point's capable of great things.
Yeah, I mean, this list for us it's been Scotch and Canadian, no Irish whiskey. Although we really could have maybe included something from
the Spots.
The Blue Spot has been so consistently good.
Blue Spot's always good. Yellow Spot's always good.
I'm a big fan of Redbreast. I really like the Redbreast 15.
Yeah.
The 12 cask strength is still pretty solid.
Cavalan Virgin Oaks are really good.
Cavalan is like doing really good stuff.
I don't really buy anything else from them anymore.
So expensive.
It's all expensive.
So expensive.
It's too risky.
Yeah.
It's too risky. Like some of their ports have been bangers. Some of their Olorosos have been bangers. Their PX is probably always great.
Yeah. Their Fino is amazing.
Right, but like your Forkino,
you're close to $400.
$400 plus
Canadian for those bottles.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
A lot of cake.
It's a lot of money nowadays. Like
a lot of cake. You could pick.
Interest rates are still like close to 7%.
You could pick 3 or 4 of these bottles that we got on the table right now for that price.
Right, and is it worth it?
Yeah.
Right, like that's what it all boils down to is, you know, are you getting enough quality in the glass that it's worth that price tag? Probably not. Yeah. Amaru has been, for the most part, disappointing, but they are finding their way back. That Spectrum you had was pretty good.
Very, very nice.
I heard the new Port Nova is very good.
Yeah.
Millstone, which I want to explore more of.
Millstone's great.
I have that boutique that's really good from them. I want to explore more of their core range. They might make a list one day.
Well, leave us a comment down below. Is there a distillery this year that stood out for you? Is it one of these or is it something else? Leave us a comment. Let us know.
Yeah.
So many great new distilleries, but for us, these represent our buying habits for sure.
I'm gonna venture a guess. There's gonna be people complaining that there's not an American single malt distillery up here.
Yeah, you know what? And there's so many good American single malt distilleries. We just don't get the really good stuff, and we just don't buy it.
Yeah. We don't get enough balcones. We don't get enough of the Stranahans or any of that kind of stuff to know if there's really good stuff out there.
Yeah, and we haven't been buying in the US like we normally do.
No. Ever since COVID, that's changed drastically.
Very much changed.
Yeah.
Very much changed.
Yeah.
But thanks so much for watching. Leave us a comment down below, like, subscribe, and have a great New Year, everyone.
Yeah, Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year, guys. Cheers.
Cheers. You like those, eh?
Man, I need the poster. I need the poster on the wall.
We've cornered the market on 30+ year olds.
Mid-30s heart throbs. Love it.